Valorant is obviously a game we are all still learning, and there's just so much to explore and discover within this relatively vast game. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 5 things you don't do in Valorant that you should be. We're going to be following Mendo, who's one of the best players in the world right now. If you watch his stream, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They even recently won the ESPN tournament against some of the top players in Valorant now. But yeah, so 5 things you don't do, let's get into it. The first point I have here is what he calls jump scouting. In fact, him and his Brimstone are currently holding the A-bomb on the map Haven, and basically they need to gather information if the enemy team is coming through sewer or long. So what he does here, and I know this might sound basic, it's what they call jump scouting. It's basic, but I feel like no one ever uses the jump properly. And what he's gonna do here is actually jump over this box to simply give vision. Now, I understand, right? I understand your thoughts. Well, what if you get headshot? I don't think people's reaction time is that good, and on the contrary, I just think information is worth the risk. So yeah, that's all I have to show you for the first clip here, but ever since I started playing, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this against me or on my team to gather information, and I think it's a great tip. In this next example, he's going to be once again holding A, and what I want to talk about here is the idea of committing when low, or keeping your gun out instead of using your abilities when you get into bad situations. So very common is the situation when you're on defense, the enemy team pushes through very quickly, and you have to fend off 3 or 4 opponents while in a corner by yourself. Now in this case it's not that drastic, but basically what I want to recommend to all you guys, instead of panicking when all the people come through, simply hold out your weapon, and especially if you get 1 kill, do not drop your weapon. Do not, because usually what I see is people get a kill, they're like, oh, push is over. Then the second guy comes in and wipes them out. However, if you watch a lot of these top CS pros who are obviously now good in Valorant, or a lot of the top Valorant players, they don't do this. So as you're gonna see here, takes out the first player with his sniper, and even though he's 8 HP and a Sage, like you might be like, why not heal yourself? Isn't this just dumb speed? No, it's not. It's not, because what is the likelihood that someone's gonna peek around the corner, especially considering this is a tournament, right? A 5v5 scenario. So the Brimstone player that just died is obviously gonna tell the entirety of his team that, hey, this guy's 8 HP, push him, push him, push him. So if anyone's in a position to push him, they're going to do so. So if you have an AWP, especially an AWP, right, when you can one-shot, one-kill someone, I mean, frankly, you can do that with the Vandal and Phantom as well. But if you have any of these weapons, don't drop your cover and play your odds, right? You're better off getting that, 1 in 5 situation, or maybe 1 in 10 situation where you manage to pick up the kill. So the next concept is one that Mendo calls gambling. He specifically uses this term within his stream, and I think it's a very good strategy just to basically all in on rounds, and I even recommend personally doing this in eco rounds. The reason why I think this strategy makes sense in eco rounds is basically what you're doing when you're gambling is you're dropping a site, right? So they're running a 2-1-2 setup with a little bit of flex on B. You could argue it's a 2-2-1, but basically he's gonna drop off A because the Cypher got a little bit of vision on them in C, right? So the Cypher makes the call, okay, they might be C. He's like, I'm gonna gamble. Because realistically, the team could go from C all the way back around to A, so it's a bit of a gamble. In this case, his gamble pays off, and obviously that's why it's called a gamble. And I think in an eco round, if you have to all in, right, and you make the gamble and it pays off, it's gonna give you the chance to win with only pistols, which is, pretty thrifty. And even though he doesn't end up getting any kills this round, you're gonna notice that his presence and pressure with the ice wall and slows is a big reason why they were able to win this round, and I think the gamble truly paid off. Now this one is more of a strategy, but what I'd like to talk about here is holding the side of smokes, specifically Brimstone smokes. Now of course this can apply to Viper smokes, it can apply to Omen smokes, I guess even Jet as well, but basically what you're gonna see here is that Mendo is holding the left side of the smoke, right? The left side of the smoke. And I really like this because not only does it give him a situation where if they do decide to actually just push the wall that he's currently on, right, go against the wall and push through to A long here, he's gonna be holding it, right, number 1. And number 2, I really do believe that a lot of players, especially in pubs, would run through the smoke and peek here. So what are they gonna assume, guys, right? The person on the other end, what are they gonna assume that an AWP player or someone, holding A long is gonna be looking at? They're gonna assume they're gonna be looking at the doorway, right? This is Haven. They're gonna assume they're gonna look at the doorway. So they might peek this area of the smoke to try to get an angle, and therefore he's actually out metaing it, looking a step ahead and holding it. Now once again, doesn't get a kill. I just think these are the little things that really separate the top tier players from the others. Now of course things like accuracy, crosshair placement, everything matters, eco, all the callouts they make, but these are the little niche plays that I think a lot of players would miss unless you do very close VOD analysis, and I hope this helps you quite a bit. And now just as a follow-up to this, only because I was talking about the AWP, I want to give another tip for the AWP real quickly, as I think this weapon is very potent and is is used incorrectly in a majority of the games. So what you should be doing with it is not just, you don't really want to slow peek, right? So if you're going to turn or corner with the op, I really recommend you don't necessarily play it slow. Every time I've seen a player play slow with the op around the corner, I feel like they just get dinked in the head, absolutely destroyed by a Vandal one-shot headshot. And so what you're going to see with Mendo here is that he actually peeks it long, right? So when he's going to come around the bend, he's actually going to sprint around the corner and takes out the Brimstone pretty easily. Just a great shot on top of that as well. But make sure you play fast with the op. I think a lot of people feel like it's a bit clunky and it's like, oh, if I'm not using the Marshal, I'm using the op and it's a slow sniper. But nah, I really do think you want to be fast peeking corners with this, especially if you know it's a 1v1 scenario like we just saw there. All right, and for the most advanced tip, the final tip of the video, we have an incredible Sage-based play. Now, this is something you can call out to your Sage, but most likely, if you are the Sage player, you're gonna be the one who's gonna have to make this call. Period. You're gonna have to be the shot caller in this case, because basically what happens is the enemy Sage walls off sewers, right? So the enemy Sage figures out, okay, they're coming through here, I'll just wall it off to stall them. I'm gonna ruin their round. However, what you can do, he calls it stacking. He's like, stack up, stack up, stack up. And then his entire team meets up here against the Sage wall, right? They all press against the Sage wall, and he uses his own Sage wall to boost them over. I mean, I guess it's once again one of those things where it's like seemingly simple, but who really thinks of this stuff? Super smart play here. He boosts them all over the top, right? They group up against the wall. Obviously, this isn't going to work in your average pub. You're going to need a 5 stack to make this work, but he's able to get a pick off onto the enemy Sage who is holding the wall. And I really just thought that's the type of play that like only the top tier players are really thinking of right now. I mean, I'm sure there are pub players, and you guys can let me know in the comment section down below if you do things like that. But if you do, I mean, you're a special breed. You're a special breed, brother. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned quite a bit from this video. And if you did, I would appreciate a like on it, as the YouTube algorithm really likes when you click the like button, and I like it as well. But nah, I mean, in all seriousness, if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. We are, no joke, putting out 2 videos a day, which is, in my opinion, pretty cool, right? We're all trying to learn Valorant, and the amount of information in this game is pretty staggering considering it is a shooter. I mean, I'm not saying there's no information in shooters, but yeah, if you agree with me on that, obviously you could let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.